Hello and welcome to Real to Real. The sad increase in acts of violence in our schools brings with it a need for better awareness on how to respond should a teacher or student be injured. Earlier this month, several tables were covered with tourniquets, rolls of gauze, and rubber models of human arms and legs. It may have resembled a medical school classroom, but it was actually Pope Francis High School hosting a presentation known as Stop the Bleed. John Thornton tells us more.
Dr. Ronald Gross and a team of nurses and physicians from Bay State Medical Center in Springfield led Stop the Bleed, an event organized by Pope Francis High School's health and wellness teacher Leslie Perrault. It was originally meant to be a first aid training course for Bay State Medical Center nurses who were taught how to stop a patient from bleeding using a tourniquet or medicated gauze. Thanks to Perrault, Pope Francis High School became the first of many planned local school visits for the training event.
They're driving, they could be in a car with their parents, they could come across an accident, it could be a workplace issue. Trauma isn't reserved for a war, that it's everywhere, and it could be accidents they come across. They were trained in CPR last week, so they are all now CPR certified and Stop the Bleed trained.
Today at Pope Francis High School, I asked Dr. Gross why he thinks that these life-saving skills are necessary for high school students to learn, and even had a tourniquet demonstrated on myself.
Above the elbow, you're gonna pull it up like this, down and around, right?
Dr. Gross and his team showed a slideshow about what to do and not to do when assisting victims of trauma, and demonstrated how to apply tourniquets and stuff gauze into fake wounds on rubber limbs. They then let the students practice on each other, wrapping their own limbs with special training tourniquets.
It's one of those things where it makes a difference. And I think we need to stress, and these guys know it, that much of what we see isn't going to be a bombing. It's not going to be a mass shooting. It's going to be a bad multi-car crash. It's going to be a large bus crash. It's going to be industrial accidents or boiler explosions and multiple casualties. So this isn't just for what the press is bringing to us every day, sadly. It's for the everyday.
Students attending the training day say the skills learned may save a life someday.
Unfortunately, in this country, there's a lot of violence, both in schools, out of schools, on the streets. So I think just kind of like day to day, if you ever see something, randomly and you can help, I think it's the more people that know how to save a life, the better.
Dr. Gross believes that these skills are invaluable, not just for students to learn, but for everyone, as they never know when they will be faced with an emergency. In Chicopee, I'm John Thornton.
And this team plans on visiting other schools and youth groups to share these valuable and potentially life-saving measures.